thinking, right? Like, imagine you have all the money in the world. What will you go out and create then?
Right.
Tell me how this is different from some of the more sort of some of the other popular sort of ideas, folksy ideas or popular ideas that have also got a lot of flack. And I'm referring to things like The Secret and manifestation, which, by the way, I there was a time in my life that I leaned into all of these ideas very, very heavily, very
Yeah.
heavily. And I think, those were moments of heightened vulnerability when life felt very hopeless. I leaned into it guiltily, not didn't want to tell too many people that I was reading this sort of
Right.
woo-woo literature, but it was comforting in those moments. But then, of course, skepticism and cynicism do take their place, scientific thinking and all of that. So,
Right.
so how is this different from the science of manifestation, quote unquote?
Yeah. So I'm not telling people to manifest things into life, although you can, and I wouldn't prevent you from doing so. I just don't believe that most people understand what manifesting is. Uh, there's a lot of preconceived notions about it. Even I had an incorrect understanding of what it is, and I probably still don't know the true understanding of what it is. Maybe one day, but I struggled with trying to understand what it is and implementing it in my own life, simply because I just trying to believe that something's going to happen and then doing everything you can and just assuming that just by believing that it's going to happen didn't really sit right with me. Um, and it kind of delegated what I was able to do to some greater force, which can help to a certain degree. But I think I had a very like narrow-minded understanding of what it is. What I will say about this question is it's meant to be more of an exercise to expand the mind.
Mm,
It's more about tapping into your imagination than anything else. But
mm,
saying that manifestation won't work or there's no point in doing this would be like there's no point exercising your imagination.
mm,
And I don't think that's a fair comparison. But that's not to say that whatever you imagine in your mind will come true. Uh, but what if we can create a world where some of it does,
mm,
right?
mm.
Because some you moving in that direction is more important than whether it becomes true or not. Uh, because we should always probably, we don't, I don't like using the word should, but it's ideal to live in the present moment.
Yeah.
So it's more about what can you do in the present moment that excites you most and
Mm,
move towards that. That's actually the question that I'm trying to get to.
yeah.
Like what feels most expansive, unknown, and aligned to you in this moment,
Mm,
and can you move towards it? And that's following your intuition, that's following your heart, whatever you want to call it. But that is what we're meant to do. We're not meant to like sit around and like just think our way into something. We're actually meant to be an antenna to new ideas, uh, new things that we want to make, and then act on it.
mm,
Um, and that's actually to me that's how manifestation actually works is moving towards what excites you most.
mm.
But most people just kind of think it's more of a passive thing, but it's very active. For example,
Yeah.
if you're operating from a place of being expansive, unknown, and aligned, and you're full of love and joy,
Mm,
you literally become magnetic. Like those people you can see when they're walking around the street, when you're talking to them, you can feel some sort of pull towards them. That's like the law of attraction, right? But that's how it works. Energy is infectious.
yeah.
So the more of that energy you can bring into your life, I would
Mm,
call that love. The more magnetic you become, the more people want to work with you, the more resources will flow to you as they're flowing out. Partly why manifestation doesn't work for a lot of people is because they like to hoard things. They want to keep the energy to themselves. They want to keep the money to themselves, but it's meant to flow in and to flow out in direct proportion. So
mm,
you're really rewarded on that. Uh, if a river becomes stagnant, it dies, and all the wildlife around it begins to dwindle.
mm.
A river that flows is a healthy river.